Hey, you guys, we got a major snowstorm. Am I right, Nando?
Oh yes, it's crazy. I
Got some,
I I I think I don't know if we saw the hedgehog or the groundhog or what, but it's definitely there's a lot of snow. Usually my ice fishing season's already over. I went this weekend to the ice, 14 inches of ice. And I
dang.
have a hand auger. I drilled one hole. My wife said, "Is that all we're doing?" I said, "That's all I'm doing. I'm gonna sit down right here and then fish for an hour, and then I'm gonna leave. I can't drill any more holes."
I just can't 14 inches of ice. Wow. Hey, you guys, speaking of ice, we got a great card coming up this weekend, and we want to welcome you to Knuckle Sandwich MMA with my faithful companion, Nando, in the house, the ice fisherman who's drilling through 14 inches of ice with a hand freaking auger.
Yeah, our gas auger, the cord broke off, so we're like,
Oh, it's a gas auger, huh?
well, I had a gas auger. We got it, but the cord broke off, so I have a hand auger that I didn't buy new blades this year. So
Well, then that means you got this going on.
yeah.
Well, I'm looking out my office window, Nando, and I see beautiful snow. The air is clean, the sky is blue, and there's tons and tons of snow out there. So, hey, I got to tell you guys, if you don't know where we we podcast from Utah. Some of you may know that, but this is good news for us because we've had 4 or 5 years of drought. And so this is very welcome. It's kind of a pain to go out there and shovel, but hey, you know what? I think it was more of a pain to drill through 14 inches of ice with a hand auger. All right, you guys, let's get started because we got a lot to cover today. And Nando, I do want to give you an update. I've been talking to our friends from Fortified Krav Maga, and they
Okay.
are super stoked about the podcast we did with them. More than stoked, they're getting a lot of views. He asked me, Clayton Mortensen, who's the owner, he asked me if he could get the raw video footage, and I granted him that. So, and I said, you can use it any way you want. Just make sure you tag Knuckle Sandwich MMA, and we'll be happy with that.
Mm.
But he just said, the circle of knowledge was just gold to him too, and he's going to utilize that for his gym, and so we're super happy about it. Also, just to bring you up to speed, Nando, I did ask him about what we could do if we wanted to go and do a test drive fortified Krav Maga. And he said, because of the fine work we did, we're welcome to, go and check it out. And, he'll give us like a free week type thing to test drive it. So if you want to do that, I just want to let you know that's available to you. I'm
Okay.
thinking Nico and I might go and check it out.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what Nico was telling me.
yeah, to
He
see
he was
what
clowning
it's
my
all about.
boxing skills. I said the guy put me right up there real quick. I wasn't paying attention. I was talking to the other people, and then he's like, hook, punch, jab. And I'm like,
Well, so I just want to let you know that he did, the invitation extends to you, Nando. So there you go. All right, you guys, we're going to get into fight night, another fight night at the Apex in Las Vegas, Nevada. And this card is Krylov versus Spann, which is an excellent. There's some good fights on this card
yeah,
and
really
some
good.
views, right, Nando? So
Yeah.
first off, we start at the bottom. We're going to work our way to the top. We have Eric Gonzalez versus Trevor Peak, and there's no odds or anything on these guys. However, let's see what I got here. So Eric Gonzalez has a 14-7-0 record, and Trevor Peak has a 7-0 record. It's Trevor Peak's debut, and I think he came from Contender Series because he looks familiar to me. And so there you go. We got that one at lightweight bout. Next up, we have Jose Johnson versus Garrett Armfield at bantamweight bout. What have you got for this one?
I got Jose at 27 years old, 15-7, 4 of the last 5. He's from Twin Wolves MMA. He's on a 3-fight win streak. Garrett Armfield is 8-3, 3 of 5. Springfield, fight team, and his last fight was a loss.
Okay, so we got another debut for bantamweight. All right, let's move up to the next one here. We have a women's bantamweight bout with Haley Cowan versus Eileen Perez. And what do you have for this one?
Haley Cowan is 31, 7 of 2, 4 of 5. She's from Blitz Sports. 2 wins, Contender Series alumni. Aileen Perez, 28, 7 and 2, 3 of 5. Kaishi team. She has a loss. Her last fight was a loss.
Okay. And so one thing I wanna mention to everybody before we move in any further is, you know, a lot of people say, "Oh, this is a dog card," or it's not a very exciting card. And one thing you have to take into consideration, the roster that the UFC has in particular has about 600 athletes on the roster. So there's a lot of people that need to find fights. And this is a great way to have these people that are making debuts within the UFC and lesser known fighters to get a fight, because that's a lot of people to rotate through, to put on so many fights a year, and getting all these folks, all these athletes that need a fight because they want to get paid just like everybody else, right? So it's good to have these kind of cards, especially with a lot of debuts, because it's kind of similar to the Contender Series in a way that even though they're in the UFC, they get to prove themselves. And a lot of them bring that energy because they want to prove themselves. They want to get in there and they want to get in that circuit of getting fights more often, 2 or 3 a year at least. So that's a good thing to have cards like this. What are your thoughts on that, Nando? What I just
Yeah, I think it's also good because then like Sunday, I watch the main event on Saturday night when I get home, but then Sunday I watch these prelims, and a lot of these people, you'll see someone and you're like, oh, this is a gem. This is somebody I need to write down. This is somebody I want to see later, and they get a lot of times when you watch some of these big cards and you're watching the commercials. With this, you can go right to the fights, and then usually I try to keep off my phone Saturday night because I'll get like, oh, this person did something great. And I'm like, oh man, it just ruined it. Like, but there's always great fights, and these people want to get out there. They want to get their name, and this is way bigger platform than ever, because usually these prelims you would have to buy the DVD and you'd get the prelims with it, but you wouldn't see it on TV. You wouldn't, these people would be like kind of under the rug, and you wouldn't even know about it.
Yeah, I agree with that. And also, like in the last weekend's card, so I believe the first 3 matches were all finishes. And that's pretty cool, man. Pretty cool. All right, next up, we have Rafael Alves versus Nurulo Aliv. And what do you have on this fight? This is a lightweight bout.
Rafael is 32, 20 of 11, 3 of 5. He's from MMA Masters. I've never heard of that team. A loss. And Aliv is 23, 8 and 0, and he's from Contenders. I think this is his UFC debut. So I think that might be really good. When someone has a streak, they come in. Sometimes they do really well. And this isn't the bright lights, but this is a good way to get them in there.
Yeah. Yeah, and a good way to break them in, especially at the apex, because they get a taste. When they interview a lot of these fighters that are debuting during fight week, it's interesting because they say how well they've been treated, and they're doing all this stuff which they don't do in the regional circuits, right? When they're coming from local fight venues and stuff like that, they don't know any of this stuff. So that bright light thing can affect their performances. But to get them, I think that's why they do fight weeks, get people like more acclimated to what's happening, what's going on, because you don't want a bunch of athletes, especially if they have promise, to fold under the pressure of the bright lights, right?
Right. You want to bring them in, let them see how the ring. The cage is a little bit smaller, so I've heard, in
Yes.
comparison to some of the others. So
Yeah,
it
that means they gotta
favors,
fight.
huh?
They gotta fight.
Yeah.
Smaller ring means more contact. You can't run. All right, next up we have Ode Osborne versus Charles Johnson at a catchweight bout. That's an interesting thing, a catchweight bout. I'm not sure what happened there, but that's kind of interesting. What's your
What is the catch weight?
it doesn't say, but they both weigh in at 125 and 126. So I'm not sure.
That's weird. 125 is the smallest weight class.
Maybe that what I'm seeing on the UFC website is their weight class of what they normally fight at.
They're probably fighting
Somebody
at
went
130,
overweight.
probably 130, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Ode is 31, 11-5, 3-5. Waukesha MMA, his last fight was a loss. Charles Johnson is 32, 13-3, 4-5. Marciliago MMA, 22 win. I mean 2-win streak, not 22 win streak, 2-win streak.
Okay, let's start picking some winners and losers with this fight moving forward. What's that? Is that a pencil? Is that
This
number
is
two?
for my birthday. My friend sent me a pencil, a notebook, and a pencil sharpener. He says, "I don't like seeing you with no pencil looking around. I sent you 200 pencils. You should have them everywhere." So, like the big up to my friend Big Eddie.
Big Eddie, way to go, Big Eddie! Keeping Nando on the straight and narrow. I like it. Oh, that's a pretty good friend to have to send you that. That's cool.
Yeah,
Big Eddie, way to go. Okay,
I'm
so
gonna
who you got on this fight?
I'm gonna go with Odie.
Ooh, I'm leaning towards Ode as well, but I'm going to go against the grain, and I think Charles Johnson's going to bring it this weekend. So I'm going to go.
Okay.
All right. Next up, we have a lightweight bout with Joe Selecki versus Carl Deaton, and looks like another debut. This is an awesome card. I like all these debuts. This is a lightweight bout, and what do you got on this one?
Selecki is 29, 12-3, 4-5. He's from Jim O. This last fight was a win. Carl Deaton is 33, 17-5, 3-5, American top team, 2 wins.
2 wins. Okay, so you just made up my mind for me because when you said his age, coming in at 33 is, and having only 2 wins, I'm going to have to go with the proven Joe Selecki.
No, he is 17-5, but his last 2 fights are wins.
Oh, 17-5. Okay. All right. Thank you. So I'm still going to go with Joe Selecki.
I'm going to go with Joe Selecki too.
All right. Next up, this is an interesting bout, and I already have my pick, but we got a lightweight bout with Jordan Levitt and the Human Backpack and Victor Martinez. What you got here?
Okay, Victor Martinez is 31, 13-4, 7-fight win streak, Fortis MMA Contender Series. Jordan Levitt is 27, 10-2, 3-5, Syndicate MMA. His last loss was Patty the Batty. I was gonna go with Jordan Levitt, but I think I'm gonna give Victor Martinez a chance. I think he might
surprise somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if he's how many fight win streak is he on?
7-fight win streak.
Okay. Yes. Yeah. You got to give him a chance. Well, he made it to the UFC. You got to give him a chance, right? But
Fortis MMA is one of those teams that's coming up right now.
Okay. Having known nothing about him, I'm going to go with Jordan Levitt just because of his groundwork. So I'm going to pick Jordan Levitt on that one. But I do want to see what Victor Martinez can do. That's a pretty interesting fight. Next up, we have a women's flyweight bout, and that is Jasmine Jasudavicius versus Gabriela Fernandez. And what you got on this one?
Okay, Jasmine is 33, 7-2, 3-5, Niagara top team, last loss. She's really long, great pressure. Gabrielle Fernandez is 8-1, 7-fight win streak, Hikari, great kickboxing. This is her debut. she has a shoot boxing style. I looked at videos of both of these because this fight's going to be very interesting. The fight with Jasmine and the Contender, she took the girl down and she ground and pounded a lot. They were saying I didn't see anything about her being Canadian, but they were saying a lot of they were referencing her to like George St. Pierre style.
Okay. Who are you going with? You're
I'm
first this time.
I'm gonna go with Jasmine. From what I saw, I really liked it. I think she might have a chance. The other girl's really long though, and great kickboxing.
Well, I don't know if that number 2 pencil and that tablet is enabling you to read my mind, but I'm going with Jasmine too.
Oh, really?
Just so you guys know, okay, he's copying me even though he went first.
Okay.
All right, let's see what we got. So that's the prelims. Now we're up to the main card. And there's some interesting matchups here. We've got next up Mike Mallet versus Johan Lainesse at a welterweight belt. What do you got?
Okay, so Mike is 31. He's 8-1, 4-1-0 of the last fights. Team Alpha Male, he's Contender. He's a Canadian fighter. Long punches, great grappling. He has a great guillotine, and he's up and coming. He's a up and coming guy. Johan 30, 9-1, 405 Brazilian top team. He's also from the Contender, a hard puncher, nice movement, and he has a great hook. He was getting pushed against the cage, and I was watching it, and I was like, this guy is gonna. Am I reading the wrong thing? He's gonna lose. All of a sudden, he just right hooks this guy, and it's over.
Wow. I'm going to have to go, and obviously if you're from Team Alpha Male, they work a lot on guillotines. One of the hardest things to get out of it once you cinch it in. I'm going to go with Mike on this one.
I'm going to go with Mike also because you're right. They love the guillotine because the guillotine is great for their type of style because they use the guillotine to get the guy down, and then when the guy gets up, they go and take him right down. It's like one of their like trademark signature things they do. They let the guy they say don't if he's gonna get out, let him out and push him and go right to his legs and take him down.
Well, way back in the day, that's what Uriah Faber used against my buddy Dominic Cruz.
Yeah, when Dominic Cruz hates that, he said, first of all, it was one of my first big fights. I had a stupid haircut. He was so mad, and then it started the whole fight between them because Dominic Cruz wrote on one of the posters over Uriah Faber's face. He signed his name over Uriah Faber's face because Dominic Cruz wasn't even on the poster. It was his title fight. He wasn't even on the poster. He was so mad about it.
It was because of the haircut, bro.
Yeah.
Well, one of the greatest rivalries in UFC history is Uriah Faber and Dominic Cruz, and it was fun to watch that many years ago. All right, guys. Next up, we have the women's flyweight bout, and guess who's back? Tatiana Suarez versus Montana De La Rosa. And I was doing a little bit of research on Tatiana. She hasn't fought since 2019. And she's had a series of injuries and all kinds of stuff. So that's putting her out about 4 years, my friend. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's not good. It's not. She was probably one of a lot of people were saying this is the next big thing. She was like, a lot of people were scared of her, like Islam or whatever, because of her wrestling. So I'm going to go into Tatiana. She's 32, 8-0, Millennia MMA. She beat Alexis Grasso. She beat Carla Esparza, and she just manhandled Carla Esparza. Carla Esparza was like an Olympic hopeful in wrestling. She beat Nina Nunez, was her last fight. She's the Ultimate Fighter 23 winner. She's freestyle wrestling. Montana De La Rosa's 28, 12 of 7, 2-1-2 of the last 5. Elevation Fight Team. She lost to Macy Barber. She has great wrestling, but there's levels to wrestling. And I don't think she's at Tatiana's. She has long punches, and she's gonna have to work on the neck cranks, try to pressure. It's gonna be a tough fight for both of them. Think a lot of pressures on Tatiana Suarez because she has this win streak. She has the momentum, but it stopped. So she's kind of starting not from the beginning again, but she's got like a lot of these other fighters are really active, and she hasn't been active at all lately.
Exactly. Well, she's been training. I saw a video of her training with Tarzan, and you know who I'm talking about, right?
No,
You don't know Tarzan?
no.
Come on, bro. You got to know Tarzan. Everybody knows Tarzan. Come on.
You're
Sean
talking
Strickland.
about Sean Strickland. I was thinking of the guy that played Tarzan. What's his name?
Did you notice my eyes were shooting all over the place because I forgot his name too, and I was like looking him up.
John Strickland. No, I was thinking of the guy. What is the guy that played Tarzan in the show? Like,
oh heck, I don't know.
I can't think of his name.
But I do know this: Nicolas Cage will be playing him in the next movie.
Nicolas Cage?
No, I'm messing with you.
What? Nicolas Cage has a weird career lately.
Okay. I took Nando down a rabbit hole. Let's get back out. So anyway, I saw Tatiana Suarez. She was training with Strickland. But the thing that I noticed about her, she was really big, like thick and strong, man. So I'm gonna pick Tatiana just because of the way she looked, not because of how long she's been out. I do know that she's really great at not only wrestling and taking down, but once she gets you down, she knows what to do, and that's ground and pound. And she can ground and pound you into a pulp. I think she's going to be much stronger than De La Rosa, and I think that's going to be the difference right there. Because she, like you said, she manhandled Carla Esparza like nothing, you know. And I think she's going to do the same to De La Rosa. Plus, she's got to make a huge statement saying, "I'm back. Here I am. UFC, notice me." And I didn't mean to rhyme.
She's 32. Yeah, you're probably right. I'm gonna go with Tatiana Suarez. Because she's not even ranked right now. So she needs to get a fight to get back in the rankings and be like in the top 5 within the next year or two.
Well, and Knuckle Sandwich fans, this should tell you a lot that we're spending that much time on Tatiana, because she did have she was very promising, and these nagging injuries sidelined her. So I think she's going to come back with a vengeance. And unfortunately, De La Rosa is her first victim, or opponent. And so therefore she's going to take it out on her. All right, next up, we have Augusto Sakai at heavyweight bout versus Dontel Mays. And what do you have on this one?
Sakai is 31, 15-5, 4-fight losing streak. American top team. He's lost to Alistair Overeem, Rosenstruck, Tai Tuivasa, Spivak. He has great ground and pound. Dontel Mays is 31, 9-4, 2-2 in no contest. He's from Bronx Hill MMA, judo, nice punching. He's gonna need to use the judo to get, like, I haven't seen a lot, but he needs to go back to the judo to toss this guy, because the biggest advantage he has is to get this guy to the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And get good punches, because Sakai's got to do something, or he might be cut. You know what I mean? I don't know though, because I think that's heavyweight, right?
Yeah.
They don't have a lot of fighters at heavyweight, so he might stick around. He might end up fighting what's his name that just fought?
The Black Beast.
The Black Beast. I might be somebody for the Black Beast, or somebody for Mohammed Usman if he doesn't win this fight. They're going to use him.
So who do you got?
I'm going to go with Dontel.
Yeah. So last few fights of being on a 4-fight losing streak. The other thing that you mentioned, he's not very good on the ground. but he's also not very good on the cage either. He seems to freeze up and take a lot of shots, a lot of short elbows to the cage, and he doesn't know how to peel away to get off of the cage. Of course, he's fought some monsters, but he was considered an up and comer too. And when you start losing 4 in a row, it's really hard to get that mindset, back. And he needs a definitive win, not a split decision, not going the distance. He needs a TKO or a knockout or a submission of some sort, not just to stay in the UFC, but also to get his confidence back, because he's got to not be feeling good. Imagine going into the octagon knowing you've lost 4 in a row. That's not good for the confidence builder. Dante Williams strikes hard. He hits hard. And I'm going to pick Dontel Mays as well. I think I called him Williams, but my mistake. Mays. Dontel Mays.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with him. And now this next one is a good fight here. We got Andre Muniz at middleweight bout versus Brendan Allen. And what do you got on this one?
Muniz is 33. He's ranked 11 right now. He's 23-4, 9-fight winning streak. Tata Fight Team. Uriah Hall, Eric Andrews, Ronaldo Souza, where he broke his arm, which was not very good. Mackenzie Dern needs to train with him because she needs to make people fear her like people fear Andre. She needs to maybe not break somebody's arm, but she needs to hurt somebody. He's a 3rd-degree black belt under Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He has that pressure Jiu-Jitsu, kind of like a Damian Maia. And Brandon All-In Allen, 27, 20-5, 4-5, Sanford MMA, wins over Sam Alvey, Christoph Jocko, pressure, great takedown. He has it reminds me of Alan Belcher versus Damian Maia. He has the style to beat somebody that has jiu-jitsu. Great transitions. He likes to do his wrestling into jiu-jitsu, and I think this is going to be a very close fight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with Brandon Allen, but it could go either way on this fight. It's really going to be a great grappling fight, and I think it might be on the. It might end up a lot of standing because I think they're going to nullify each other.
Okay. I agree with a lot of your comments on this, but I'm going to go with Andre on this one for the win because, and I think it's going to be a submission. I don't think it's going to go to a decision. He's got a lot more swagger right now, a lot more confidence, and the way that he fought last time showed a lot of confidence in his game and his tools. He wasn't hesitant at all. He was very technical. I love Brendan Allen because he's got the heart of a lion, and he's a good fighter. You're right. It probably could go either way on this one, but I'm going to give the edge just on the swagger to Andre Muniz. All right. Next up, we have the main fight of the card. Nikita Krylov versus Ryan Spann at light heavyweight. What you got?
Okay, Nikita Krylov, he's 30 years old, 29-9, 3-5. Fight Club #1 is his team. Volkan Gustav. Great kickboxing. He has that M1 kickboxing style. Ryan Spann, 31. He's ranked 8th. Nikita is ranked 6th. He's 21-7, 3-5. Fortis MMA wins over Dominic Reyes, Ian Kutababla, and Anthony Smith. Quick pressure. He leads with his back leg. This is going to be very interesting. It's going to be a stand and bang. I think that Nikita is going to need to kind of put him in directions for the kick. So he's going to have to be the lead if he wants to win this fight, because I think Ryan Spann is going to come in, pressure him, and try to get him against the cage and just open up. And I think Nikita's going to have to go left to right and try to hit him with punches, counter with the kick the opposite direction, and try to lead this fight into his area of expertise. What do you think?
I think Spann's been looking really good. He had some ups and downs, and then he's been looking really, really good lately. I think if he gets Nikita up against the cage, he's got to keep his chin tucked underneath his head, because Nikita does have some elbows and some short strikes that he can not knock you out or anything, but annoy you enough to peel off and get back so he can gain his distance again. I think if that's to me, that's the key. If Spann can keep that head tucked under here and work the body and get him tired, then take him down, or drop some knees, I think he can win this fight. I don't know if it's going to be a finish. I think this one's going to go to decision. I do like both fighters. They're both super exciting fighters, but I'm going to go with Stan on this one. I'm picking Stan.
You know, Stan? Oh man.
Or Spann. Bam.
Yes.
Man, hold on a second. I need another shot of tequila.
I'm gonna go
Spann, not Stan.
I'm gonna go with Nikita. I think Nikita's got the tools. I think this is gonna be a great fight for him to get him. This is light heavyweight, right?
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a good fight. I think that he needs to. Don't worry about the grappling, because I think either one of them is it. I think if Spann gets hit a lot, he might try to take him down, but he's got to watch out, because Nikita likes to push off and then have that guy with all that pressure go right into his elbow, and he's open people up.
That's why I told you, you got to keep that head tucked under that chin. You can't elbow from there. It's too close. But you're right. Nikita does have more tools. I would agree with you on that. But I think Ryan Stan's fight IQ has jumped leaps and bounds, and not taking the foolish chances, but being a little more strategic. Whereas I don't think Nikita is as strategic, but he's got more tools. So there you go. All right, you guys, that is it for us. Hope you guys like and subscribe. Knuckle Sandwich MMA. I'd love to see you guys. If you have comments, please leave them below. That's right. I said below. It's the tequila.
I'd like to say about last.
Don't do that.
No, I need it. Sorry. I like to say that Erin Blanchfield proved us all wrong last week. That was amazing what she did, and now she went from ranked 10th to probably ranked 2 or 3.
Hey, before we log off though, she did exactly what I said. I predicted that fight from start to finish. She did exactly what I said to win that fight.
Yes, she did. And Aaron Hernandez must have heard what I said in his camp, because they went there and they won. I was already calling for him. You need to leave all these people. You need to leave your coach. You need to leave everybody. You're not going to win with them. And they proved me wrong.
Yep. So but it was a fun card. A lot of good fights, and this card also promises to be a lot of fun fights. A lot of debuts, and these guys, I'm telling you, they're hungry. They're hungry. And when they're debuting, they got to shine, and they're going to put their best foot forward. Hopefully, nobody freezes. But the Apex is a good venue to bring in debuts, because then they can get a little taste of what's happening. All right, Nando, thank you so much again for your statistics and looking up all this stuff. Also, you guys, I want to let you know, Nando and I were going to be changing up the format just a little bit, because we do want to, we're out scouting for more interviews like we did with Fortified Krav Maga. We're looking at different athletes, different martial arts, all kinds of different things of, what it takes to be an athlete, basically, and not just in MMA either, because it takes sacrifice, it takes dedication, it takes consistency, it takes all these things to become a premier athlete. And we want to shine the light on some of these folks, because they are dedicating a lot of their lives to a sport, some sport. Okay. So, Nando and I are out there doing it and trying to line up people. And we're also going to try to start lining up some UFC fighters, some other fighters from other promotions, to see if they'll come on and chat with us. So there you go, guys. Look forward to that in the coming this year, and see what we can line up for you guys for your entertainment. There you go. Any parting words, Nando?
No, the next fight is a pay-per-view. It's John Jones coming back after 3 years. You know, I guess what did we say? I said who would come back, Connor or John Jones? I think John Jones came back first. Connor probably won't fight this year, but we'll see.
Yeah, but he's already started filming The Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah,
Guess who we brought in as a coach?
Stephen Wonderboy.
Wonderboy Thompson.
A great coach, because it is very complimentary to his style. So I like that he brought in Stephen Wonderboy.
That was a surprise to me, and I wonder how many other guest surprises. I know Chandler brought in from Bellator. What's his name? Ryan.
Bader.
Who's their champ?
Ryan Bader. You know who Chandler needs to bring in? This is more of like an jiu-jitsu thing, but Connor's #1 guy is Dylan Dennis. Chandler should bring in Ryan. What's his name? Gordon Ryan. Which he trolls Dylan Dennis all the time, and he's the greatest jiu-jitsu guy right now.
That's funny. All right, you guys, don't forget, like, subscribe, and share. Knuckle Sandwich MMA. Nando, we'll see you on the flip side. Bye-bye.